The night sky over Mars Outpost 17 was quiet, except for the low hum of generators and the soft wind brushing over the red sand. Captain Ryan Cole had just finished his patrol. He was tired, ready to rest after another long, lonely day. But then he saw something, a small shadow moving near the outer fence. At first, Ryan thought it was just a piece of drifting metal, or maybe one of those small mining drones gone loose again. But when the shadow stopped and waved, he froze. He turned on his headlamp, the beam cutting through the dust. That's when he saw him, a boy. No, not exactly human. His skin was pale green, his eyes big and glowing faintly blue under the light. He was wearing torn clothes that looked too big for his small body. And in his arms he was holding something, a bundle wrapped in a dirty gray blanket. Ryan stepped closer slowly. "Hey there, kid," he said carefully. "You're not supposed to be out here. Are you lost?" The boy didn't answer. His lips trembled. Then in a shaky voice he said, "Sir, can you bury my sister?" Ryan stopped breathing for a moment. "What did you say?" The boy held out the bundle. It was small, too small. Ryan could already guess what was inside. "My sister," the boy whispered. "She's gone. I don't know what to do." The wind howled between them, carrying red dust across the barren ground. Ryan felt something heavy in his chest. He had seen war, death, and loss, but not like this. Not from a child. He crouched down to the boy's level. "What's your name, son?" "Halo," the boy said softly. "We came from the colony, far north. There was an attack." "An attack?" Ryan's soldier instincts kicked in. "Who attacked you?" Halo looked away, fear flashing in his eyes. "Monsters," he said. "They came from under the ground." Ryan frowned. "There's nothing under the ground, kid." "Only rock and—" "They came," Elo interrupted. "They took everyone. They took my mother. My father tried to fight, then they took her." He looked at the bundle again. "I ran. I couldn't save her." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air felt heavier, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Ryan took a slow breath. "All right, Elo, we'll take care of your sister. Come inside the base. You're safe now," but Elo didn't move. He shook his head. "No, I promised her I would bury her under the stars, not inside metal walls." Ryan looked back toward the base. The rules were clear. No outsiders allowed without full quarantine. But how could he tell that to a child holding his dead sister? He sighed. "Okay," he said softly. "We'll do it your way." They walked out a little farther into the open desert where the sand was soft and untouched. Ryan used his small utility spade, digging quietly under the dim moonlight. Elo stood nearby, holding the blanket close until the last moment. When the hole was ready, Ryan stopped. "Do you want to say something, Elo?" The boy nodded. He knelt beside the hole and whispered something in a language Ryan didn't understand. His voice broke once, but he kept going. Then he placed the small bundle gently into the grave. Ryan covered it slowly, each shovel of red dust feeling heavier than the last. When it was done, Elo placed a small piece of metal, maybe part of an old toy, on top. "She liked stars," Elo said quietly. "Now she can see them forever." Ryan swallowed hard. "I'm sorry, kid." Elo nodded but didn't cry. His eyes were fixed on the dark horizon. "They'll come again," he said suddenly. "They'll find me." Ryan looked at him. "Who will?" "The monsters," Elo whispered. "They don't like when someone escapes." A cold shiver ran down Ryan's spine. "What do you mean, they? What kind of monsters?" Elo turned slowly, and for the first time Ryan noticed deep scratches on the boy's arms, long, thin marks that seemed to burn faintly under the light. "They live beneath," Elo said, voice shaking. "They come when the ground moves. You can't hear them until it's too late." And as he said that, Ryan felt a faint vibration under his boots. At first he thought it was his imagination, but then the ground trembled again, just slightly, like something shifting deep below the surface. Ryan looked down, his hand instinctively reaching for his blaster. Elo stared at him, his glowing eyes wide. "Sir," he whispered, "it's starting again." The vibration under Ryan's boots grew stronger. At first it was like a distant heartbeat, slow, heavy, and steady. But within seconds it turned into a low rumble. The red sand around them began to shake. Ryan raised his blaster, his eyes scanning the darkness. "Elo, stay behind me," he ordered. His voice was calm, but his heart was pounding. The boy didn't move. He stood perfectly still, his glowing eyes staring at the ground. "They're coming," he whispered. "They always come after night falls." Ryan didn't see anything yet, just endless dunes and the pale light of Mars's twin moons. But he could feel it. Something massive was moving beneath the surface. Suddenly, the ground just a few meters away cracked open. A thin line of red dust rose into the air. Then, with a terrifying sound, like metal tearing apart, the ground split wider and something crawled out. Ryan aimed his weapon instantly. "What the hell is that?" The creature that emerged looked like a mix between a centipede and a machine. Its body was covered in hard black plates that reflected the moonlight, and its eyes glowed a dull orange. It hissed, a sound that vibrated through Ryan's chest. Elo grabbed Ryan's arm. "Don't shoot! They can smell energy." Ryan looked at him. "Smell what?" "Power," the boy said. "If you fire, more will come." Ryan hesitated. He'd faced many things in his life. Alien raiders, pirates, and even rogue AIs. But never something that crawled straight out of the ground like this. The creature sniffed the air, then turned its head toward them. "Run," Ryan said quietly. Elo didn't argue. They ran across the sand, their footsteps sinking deep into the red dust. Behind them, Ryan could hear the creature slithering fast, its body scraping and clicking against the ground. They reached a small ridge of rocks, and Ryan pushed Elo behind one of them. He turned and watched. The creature stopped a few meters away, its head moving side to side like it was searching. It made a low screeching noise, and suddenly, 2 more cracks appeared in the ground behind it. "Great," Ryan muttered. "There's more." Elo's voice was trembling. "They always come in 3s first. Then the big one follows." Ryan crouched beside him. "How do you know all this, kid?" Elo looked down. "Because I watched them take my family. I was hiding in the tunnels. I heard them talk." Ryan blinked. "Talk? Those things can talk?" The boy nodded slowly. "Not like humans. They talk inside your head. They whisper. They promise you things." Ryan stared at him, unsure what to believe. The boy seemed sincere. Scared, yes, but calm in a strange way, like he had seen too much to be just a child. The creatures started circling the ridge. Ryan needed a plan. He checked his wrist communicator. Still no signal. "The rocks here must have been blocking the radio," he whispered. "Okay, listen. We'll move east toward the signal beacon. Once we reach higher ground, I can call the base for help." Elo nodded, clutching his torn jacket. They waited until the nearest creature slithered past, then slipped out quietly from behind the ridge. The sand was still trembling, but the noise helped cover their steps. They moved quickly, keeping low. Every shadow looked alive. Every sound made Ryan tighten his grip on his blaster. After several minutes, they reached a narrow canyon. Ryan motioned for Elo to enter first. "Stay close," he said. The canyon was dark, with walls rising steeply on both sides. It was silent, too silent. Ryan's instincts screamed that something wasn't right. Then Elo stopped walking. He was staring at the wall ahead. "What is it?" Ryan asked. "There," Elo whispered. "Look." Ryan moved closer and shone his light. On the wall, he saw markings, strange symbols carved into the rock. They glowed faintly blue, the same color as Elo's eyes. Ryan frowned. "You know what this means?" Elo touched one of the symbols gently. "It's old language. My people used it long ago. It says, 'The deep remembers.'" Before Ryan could ask more, the ground shook again, but this time the tremor was huge. The canyon walls cracked and red dust fell from above. Elo grabbed Ryan's hand. "It's the big one." A roar echoed through the canyon, low and deep, shaking the air. From the darkness at the far end, 2 enormous orange eyes opened. Ryan lifted his weapon. "Kid," he said, "this time I'm shooting." Elo looked terrified but didn't stop him. "If you shoot," he said, "don't miss." The giant shape moved closer, a creature 3 times the size of the others, its claws cutting through stone as if it were paper. Ryan aimed right at its eyes, his finger tightening on the trigger. Then the creature stopped. It tilted its head slightly and spoke. Not with words, but inside Ryan's mind, a cold whisper that froze his blood. "Give us the boy." Ryan's hand trembled. He looked at Elo. The boy's eyes were glowing brighter now, almost blinding. "Sir," Elo whispered, his voice trembling. "Don't listen to them. If they take me, they'll wake what's below." Ryan didn't understand. But he knew one thing. Whatever these things were, they weren't just monsters, they wanted the boy, and Ryan had just decided he wasn't going to give him up. The whisper still echoed in Ryan's head. Give us the boy. It wasn't a sound. It was like cold air pressing against his thoughts, crawling inside his skull. He gritted his teeth, shaking his head to push it away. The creature stared at him with burning orange eyes, waiting for his answer. Ryan raised his blaster. You want the kid? He said through clenched teeth. Come and take him, the creature screeched, a sound that felt like metal grinding against glass. It lunged forward. Ryan fired. A beam of blue light hit the monster's face, and the entire canyon exploded with brightness. The creature howled, pulling back as smoke rose from its armored skin. Run, Ryan shouted. Elo didn't hesitate. The two of them sprinted down the canyon as the creature roared behind them, shaking the ground. Stones cracked and fell from the walls. Dust filled the air. Ryan turned once and fired again, hitting one of the smaller beasts that had joined the hunt. The beam burned through its chest, but two more appeared from the shadows. Keep going, Ryan yelled, grabbing Elo's hand. They climbed up a rocky slope, the sand sliding under their boots. When they reached the top, Ryan stopped to catch his breath. The canyon below was a chaos of movement, dark shapes crawling and hissing. The ground seemed alive. Elo fell to his knees, gasping. You shouldn't have shot them, he said. Now the others will wake. Ryan stared down at him. I didn't have a choice, kid. The boy's glowing eyes flickered with fear. You don't understand. The deep, it feels everything. Ryan knelt beside him. You keep saying that. The deep, what is it? Elo hesitated. It's what's under the world, he whispered. It sleeps beneath the sand. Long ago, my people tried to talk to it, but it only listened to children. Ryan frowned. Why children? Because we don't lie, Elo said softly. The deep feeds on truth. The words made no sense to Ryan, but he could tell the boy believed them completely. He decided not to argue. We need to move, he said. The base isn't far. As they walked across the red plains, the wind grew stronger, carrying faint whispers, not real voices, but something close. It almost sounded like crying. Elo stopped suddenly. Sir, he said quietly. Do you hear that? Ryan nodded. Yeah, what is it? It's her, Elo said. My sister, Ryan froze. Hello? Your sister is gone. The boy looked up at him, his face pale. No, she's calling me. She says she's cold. Ryan followed the boy's gaze. In the distance, near a cluster of dark rocks, a faint blue light shimmered, the same glow as Elo's eyes. Stay here, Ryan said, raising his blaster. But Elo ran ahead before he could stop him. Wait, Ryan shouted, chasing after him. The sand whipped around them and the blue light grew brighter. When Ryan caught up, Elo was kneeling beside something half buried in the sand. It was the gray blanket, the one that had held his sister. Ryan's stomach turned. He was sure they had buried it miles back. The boy touched the blanket gently and it moved. Ryan stepped back, his pulse spiking. The fabric twitched again and something small pushed against it from inside. Then, with a soft tearing sound, the blanket opened. Inside wasn't a body. It was a small metal sphere glowing faintly blue. Strange lines ran across its surface like veins. It pulsed softly, almost like it was breathing. Elo whispered, She's not dead. She's changing. Ryan stared at him. What do you mean, changing? The boy looked up, tears in his eyes. She wasn't my sister by blood. She was made, and from the deep's energy. My people called her Echo. She could heal. She could remember. The soldiers took her. They wanted to use her. But when she broke, I promised to bury her where the deep could find her again. Ryan felt a chill crawl up his spine. The sphere's light grew stronger, and the sand around it began to vibrate softly. Elo, he said, we have to get away from that thing. The boy shook his head. No, she's waking up. Before Ryan could move, the ground cracked open beneath the sphere. A thin column of light shot upward straight into the sky. The wind roared, the air buzzing like static electricity. Elo stood in the middle of it, his arms spread wide. She's listening, he cried. Ryan grabbed him and pulled him back just as the light exploded. For a second, everything went white. When the light faded, the sphere was gone. Only a perfect black circle remained in the sand, smooth, glass-like, and still humming faintly. Elo stared at it silently. Then he whispered, Now they'll all come. They'll think I called her back. Ryan looked at him, his voice low. Who will come? Elo met his eyes. Everyone. The monsters. The humans. They all want what she is. The night wind blew again, carrying the scent of burned dust. In the far distance, Ryan could already see movement. Faint lights crawling toward them across the desert. The war for the deep had just begun. The desert was quiet again, but the quiet felt wrong. Too heavy, like the air itself was waiting for something. The black glass circle in the sand still hummed softly, glowing faintly blue under Mars's twin moons. Ryan stood beside it, gripping his blaster. Elo was sitting on the ground, staring at the circle like it was his sister's grave. "What did you do, kid?" Ryan asked quietly. Elo didn't look up. "I didn't do anything." She woke up by herself. "She knows I'm here." Ryan exhaled slowly. He'd seen strange things during his time in the colonies. Alien ruins, mind-bending storms, even a few ghosts on the edge of space. But this was different. The hum under his boots wasn't just sound. It felt alive, like a heartbeat under the sand. A sharp beeping broke the silence. Ryan looked at his wrist communicator. The signal was back. He pressed the button. "Base command, this is Captain Cole. Do you copy?" A burst of static, then a voice. "Cole? We've been trying to reach you for hours. What's your location?" 2 clicks east of Outpost 17, he said. "I have a survivor, alien child, maybe half human. There's something here you need to see." There was a pause on the other end. Then the voice changed, colder, more official. "Understood. Stay where you are. A retrieval team is on its way." Ryan frowned. "Retrieval team? For a kid?" "Protocol 12 applies. Secure the asset and wait for orders." The line went dead. Ryan looked at Elo. The boy's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "They're coming, aren't they?" he asked. "Yeah," Ryan said. "Humans this time?" Elo nodded slowly. "They'll take me too." Ryan hesitated. He didn't answer. The last time he'd heard Protocol 12 was during the Titan incident, when a colony discovered an unknown life form. The result? Everyone disappeared. No survivors, no reports, just silence. He glanced at the black circle again. If the scientists back at base saw this, they'd lock it away. Or worse, use it, Elo finally spoke. "You're thinking about saving me, aren't you?" Ryan looked down at him. "You can read minds now?" The boy shook his head. "You don't need to read minds to see fear." Ryan sighed. "You're not making this easy, kid." Before Elo could answer, bright lights cut through the night. A transport rover approached from the west, its engines roaring over the sand. Dust rose behind it like a storm. Ryan grabbed Elo's hand. "We move now." They ran toward the rocks, staying low. The rover stopped near the glowing circle, and 5 soldiers jumped out, armed and armored. One of them pointed at the black glass. "Sir," energy spike confirmed. "Looks like a gate anomaly." A taller figure stepped out next, Commander Hurst. Ryan recognized him instantly. The man was all muscle and cold eyes. "Where's Cole?" Hurst barked. "Find him." Ryan cursed under his breath. They reached the ridge and crouched behind a cluster of boulders. Ella was breathing hard, trying not to cry. Ryan scanned the area. He could see the soldiers spreading out, scanning with thermal sensors. They wouldn't take long to find them. He looked at Elo. "If they catch us, they'll take you back. They'll say it's for your safety. But you'll never see daylight again." Elo nodded. "I know." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Then we don't let that happen." The boy gave him a faint smile. "You're strange for a human soldier," Ryan snorted. "Yeah, I get that a lot." They moved quietly through the rocks, heading north toward the canyon. But then a voice echoed through the comm system, amplified and sharp. "Captain Cole," Commander Hurst's voice boomed. "You are ordered to surrender the alien child. You have 30 seconds before we open fire." Elo froze. "They know." Ryan clenched his teeth. "Run!" They dashed across the sand. A beam of light swept over them, and gunfire followed. Bullets tore into the ground near their feet, sending clouds of red dust flying. Ryan fired back, hitting a sensor drone that exploded in sparks. "Go, Elo. Don't stop." They reached the edge of the canyon and slid down, rocks tumbling behind them. Ryan rolled to his feet and pulled Elo behind a ledge. Above them, soldiers shouted. The roar of engines filled the air. Elo pressed his hands to his ears. "They won't stop." "They can feel the deep now. It's calling to them." Ryan looked at him. "What do you mean?" The boy's voice trembled. "It calls anyone who gets close. It shows them things they want. Power, memory, control. That's why no one leaves. Ryan frowned. You're saying the deep talks to humans too? Alo nodded. It talks to everyone, but it only listens to the ones who tell the truth. The canyon floor shook again, not from gunfire this time, but from below. The same low rumble Ryan had felt before rose through the ground. The soldiers above stopped shooting. One of them shouted, "Sir! Movement under the surface." Ryan grabbed Elo's shoulder. "Kid, what's happening?" Elo looked at him with glowing eyes. "She's protecting us. She remembers you helped me." The black glass circle miles away pulsed once, and then the ground under the soldiers cracked open. Ryan could hear their screams echoing through the canyon as the red sand swallowed them whole. Then silence. Only the wind remained. Ryan stared at the horizon, his heart pounding. "What the hell are you, kid?" Elo looked up at him. "I'm not what scares them," he said softly. "It's what's waking up because of me." And in the distance, the desert began to glow blue again, like veins of light spreading beneath the surface of Mars. The desert burned with blue light, spreading like veins beneath the sand. Ryan stood frozen at the canyon's edge, watching in silence. The ground that had swallowed the soldiers moments ago was now still, too still. The boy, Elo, stared down at the glowing cracks. "She's calling," he whispered. Ryan turned to him. "Well, who's calling you?" "The deep." Elo shook his head slowly. "No, her, my sister. Or what's left of her. She's below now. She wants me to come." Ryan felt a chill. "That's not happening, kid. We're not going down there." But even as he said it, the ground trembled again and a circle of light opened right beneath their feet. A perfect blue ring humming softly. Wind pulled at their clothes, tugging them toward it. Ryan grabbed Elo's arm. "Hold on!" The pull got stronger. Sand whipped around them like a storm. Ryan tried to dig his boots into the rock, but the force was too strong. The light swallowed them both. Then, silence. When Ryan opened his eyes, everything was dark. The air was damp and cold. The only sound was a faint dripping like water falling on metal. He groaned, pushing himself up. "Elo?" "I'm here," came the boy's small voice. A soft blue glow appeared beside him, Elo's eyes shining in the dark. Ryan looked around. They were in a tunnel, smooth walls, circular and alive with faint patterns that moved slowly like veins. The floor pulsed under his boots. "Where the hell are we?" Ryan muttered. Elo touched the wall gently. "Inside her," he said. "Inside the deep," Ryan frowned. "Her?" Elo nodded. "The deep isn't just a thing. It's alive. She's been asleep for thousands of years. My people used to live here before the humans came." Ryan's head spun. "Wait, your people lived in this thing?" "Yes," Elo whispered. "We were part of her. We were her voice." Ryan stared at the tunnel walls again. They were breathing, not fast but slow, steady. Like the rhythm of a giant creature in hibernation. They began to walk, their footsteps echoing softly. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, just like the ones in the canyon earlier. Ryan asked, "So what happened? Why did your people leave?" Elo's expression darkened. "They didn't leave. The humans found the deep. They took her pieces in small fragments of her body. They called them cores. They said it was just energy. But when they removed the cores, she started to die." Ryan stopped. "You're saying the base has part of this thing?" Elo nodded. "Yes, that's why she's angry. That's why the monsters came. They were her protectors, the ones who guard her when she sleeps." Ryan rubbed his face. "So those things, the centipede-like creatures, they weren't attacking you?" "They were trying to take me back," Elo said quietly. "Because I was made from her energy, too." Ryan looked at him carefully. "That's what you meant when you said your sister was made from the deep." Elo nodded. "We were both made. Echo and I. But she was stronger, the first one who could speak to humans without breaking. That's why they took her." Ryan sighed, realizing the truth was much darker than he'd thought. The humans hadn't just found an alien life form. They'd stolen from it, used its power to create life. They walked deeper into the tunnels. The blue light grew stronger, painting everything in a ghostly glow. At one point, the path split into two. Ryan stopped. "Which way?" Elo tilted his head, listening. "Left," he said. "She's that way." As they moved, Ryan began to feel something strange. Whispers. Not words, just sounds. Gentle, almost comforting. But when he listened too closely, they changed. The whispers turned into voices he recognized. Ryan, he froze, that voice. It was his wife's, the one he'd lost years ago in a mining collapse. Ryan, the voice said again, soft and sweet. Come home. He shook his head, stepping back. No, this isn't real. Elo looked up at him. Don't listen to her. The deep shows you what you want to see. She's testing you. Ryan's chest tightened. The whisper grew louder. You don't have to be alone anymore. He clenched his fists. Stop it, he shouted. The echo of his voice faded down the tunnel. The walls pulsed faster for a moment, then went quiet again. Elo looked at him with sad eyes. She's lonely. That's why she calls to people. She thinks if she gives them what they want, they'll stay. Ryan swallowed hard. And what happens when they do? They never leave, the boy said simply. They continued walking until the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. In the center floated a sphere of blue light, enormous, bright, and beautiful. It pulsed with energy, sending soft ripples through the air. Ryan shielded his eyes. What is that? Elo stepped forward, his voice trembling. Her heart. The deep's last living core. Ryan felt the ground vibrating again. The hum was deeper now, stronger. Elo, he said. What happens if she wakes up completely? The boy turned to him, his glowing eyes reflecting the light. She'll remember everything, he said softly. Every lie, every wound, every piece they took from her. Ryan frowned. And what then? Elo's answer was quiet, but it chilled Ryan's blood. She'll take her world back. The chamber lights flared and a thunderous voice echoed inside their minds. The thief has returned. The child has come home. Ryan grabbed his blaster and stepped in front of Elo. You're not taking him. The walls trembled like a living heartbeat, and deep inside the glow, a shape began to move. The light filled the chamber until it was all Ryan could see. He lifted his arm to block the glare, but it wasn't just brightness, and it was pressure. A force pressing against his chest, his thoughts, his memories. He heard whispers again, thousands of them speaking all at once. Voices of men, women, and children, some human, some not. Then one voice rose above the rest. Deep, calm, ancient. Welcome home, little one. Elo stepped forward, trembling. Mother. Ryan's heart froze. Mother? The glowing shape at the center of the room began to change. The light folded into itself, taking form, tall, graceful, and strange. A figure made of liquid light, neither woman nor machine. Her face was gentle but unreadable. Her eyes two endless orbs of blue fire. You have wandered far, my child, she said, her voice echoing inside their minds. You have carried pain not meant for you. Elo's lip trembled. You left me. The deep's light flickered, almost like sadness. They took you. They tore my body apart and used my blood to make you. You were born from my memory, not my will. Ryan watched, frozen. Every word made the air hum louder. He could feel her, not just see her, inside his mind like she was touching his thoughts. He took a step forward. If you're real, if you're alive, why kill everyone who comes near you? Her eyes turned to him. For a moment, he felt his body turn cold. Because they came to take, not to understand. I gave them life, and they repaid me with silence. Ryan shook his head. You don't know what humans are like now. We're not all like them. You still dig, the voice answered. You still break the ground that feeds you. Elo turned to Ryan. Please, don't make her angry. Ryan lowered his blaster slightly but didn't drop it. Listen, he said, forcing his voice steady. That kid, Elo, he's not your enemy. He's a child. You can stop all this. You can let him live his own life. The deep tilted her head. He cannot live apart from me. His heartbeat is my echo. If I end, so does he. Elo looked down. That's true, he said quietly. If she dies, I disappear too. Ryan felt a sudden sting in his chest. There's got to be another way. The deep's form flickered again. There is only balance. Life taken, life given. The humans took my fragments. Return them and the child will be free. Ryan frowned. You mean, the cores at the base? Yes, she said. Pieces of me buried in your machines. They poison the world. Bring them back or the red sands will drown in fire. Ryan hesitated. And if I refuse? The deep's eyes burned brighter. Then the deep will rise. Mars will become my ocean once more. The floor trembled and blue cracks spread across the chamber walls. Elo stepped closer to her. Mother, stop, please! He's not like the others. The light softened slightly. The massive voice faded to a whisper. Then he must prove it. Ryan's pulse quickened. Prove it? How? The Deep extended a hand made of shimmering light. Share your truth with me. Before he could react, the light touched his forehead. Instantly, Ryan's mind exploded with images, memories flashing faster than he could blink. His wife laughing beside a Martian lake, his daughter's small hands reaching for him. The day of the mining accident and the screaming, the fire, the moment he failed to save them. He fell to his knees, gasping. Stop it. But the Deep's voice filled his head. You carry pain, guilt, love. You protect because you could not save. You seek redemption, not war. The light faded from his skin and Ryan looked up, shaking. You're inside my head. I am inside every heart that touches my soil, she said gently. You are not a thief, Ryan Cole. You are a guardian. Ryan's breath caught. How do you know my name? I remember every footstep that has ever walked upon me. Elo approached and knelt beside him. She's testing you. She wants to know if you'll return the cores. Ryan stood slowly. If I bring them back, what happens to the humans on the surface? The Deep paused. Then softly, they will sleep. Until the world is healed. Ryan clenched his fists. He knew what that meant. You'll kill them. The chamber pulsed darker. Not kill, restore. Life cannot grow on a wound. Ryan turned to Elo. If I go back, they'll try to stop me. They'll never let me return those cores. The boy nodded. Then I'll help you. I can guide you through the tunnels. There are old paths only my kind remember. Ryan stared at him for a long moment. This strange, glowing child who wasn't human, yet felt more human than most people he knew. Finally, he nodded. All right, we do it together. The Deep's voice surrounded them one last time, softer now, almost tender. Then go, my children. The path opens. But remember, the closer you come to the surface, the more the sky will lie to you. The tunnel walls shifted, forming a glowing passage that stretched upward into darkness. Ryan tightened his grip on his weapon, took one last look at the shimmering figure and stepped forward. Elo followed close behind. As they entered the tunnel, the ground above began to shake again, this time not with anger, but with awakening. Mars itself seemed to breathe. The tunnel opened to a storm. Ryan and Elo stepped out onto the surface, their suits glowing faint blue from the light below. The air was heavy with dust. The sky looked like it was bleeding. Bolts of strange blue lightning danced across the horizon. Outpost 17 was burning. Ryan's heart sank as he saw the base, half collapsed, metal twisted and torn. Flames flickered where soldiers had tried to fight. The hum from the Deep was louder now, rising from beneath the ground like a heartbeat shaking the planet. Elo stared at the sky. She's waking up. She can't stop now. Ryan turned to him. Then we have to finish this before she destroys everything. They ran through the wreckage. The sand cracked under their boots, pulsing with blue light. All around them, pieces of machinery twitched as if alive, wires moving like veins, panels glowing with the same energy as the Deep's heart. At the center of the base, the containment chamber stood and in a tall steel tower surrounded by broken drones. Inside, Ryan could see it. A glowing crystal the size of a man's chest floating between magnetic fields. The largest core, the Deep's missing heart piece. Elo's voice trembled. That's her fragment. It's what keeps her asleep. If we return it, she'll be whole again. Ryan looked at the monitors. Dozens of human lives were still being tracked. Soldiers in cryopods, civilians in lower decks. If the Deep woke fully, all of them would be gone. He clenched his fists. If I destroy that core instead? Elo shook his head violently. You can't. If you destroy it, I die too. Ryan froze. The boy looked at him with wide, desperate eyes. You promised you'd protect me, remember? Ryan's voice broke. Yeah, kid. I remember. He walked up to the control panel. The screen still worked, though faintly. A voice came through the comm. Commander Hurst. Cole. The voice rasped. Don't touch the core. That's an order. Ryan hesitated. You're still alive? I won't let you hand our only weapon back to that thing. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Weapon? You knew what this was? Of course, Hurst said coldly. This planet was dead until we found her. Her power could build cities, change gravity, terraform entire worlds. And you want to give it back? Ryan's hands trembled. You turned a living world into a lab experiment. Hurst's voice grew louder. That's what humans do, Captain. We survive, whatever it takes. Ryan looked at Elo, then at the glowing core. He had a choice: protect the child and restore the deep, or obey his command and keep humanity's weapon. Elo's eyes glowed brighter, tears falling down his pale cheeks. She's not your enemy. She only wants to remember who she was. Please, Ryan. Ryan took a deep breath. The world above rumbled, the ground shaking harder. He could feel the deep's pain through the sand. He whispered, "All right, kid. Let's finish this." Ryan smashed the panel's safety lock and opened the chamber. The air hummed so loud it hurt his ears. Blue lightning crackled across the room. He grabbed the core with both hands. It burned like ice, filling his veins with light. Elo stepped closer, his small hands glowing the same color. Together, they lifted the core into the air, and the ground split open beneath them. A beam of light shot down through the base, connecting deep underground. Ryan could hear her voice again. The deep, whispering through his mind. The circle is whole again. The light spread across the horizon, washing over every canyon, every ruin, every ship. The machines went silent. The flames vanished. Even the storm stopped. Then, stillness. Ryan opened his eyes slowly. He was standing in a field of red grass. The sky was blue, impossibly blue. The air felt warm and alive. He turned. Elo was standing beside him, smiling, but his body was fading, turning into particles of light. "Elo," Ryan whispered. "She's free now," the boy said softly. "And so am I." Ryan reached out, but his hand passed through the boy's shoulder. "Don't go, kid." "Not yet," Elo smiled sadly. "You kept your promise. Thank you." His voice echoed as his form dissolved completely, becoming part of the glowing air. Ryan fell to his knees, tears mixing with the Martian dust. Around him the world shimmered. Mars, reborn. The deep's voice spoke one last time, soft and ancient. "You gave back what was never yours. Humanity will remember this kindness." Ryan looked up at the sky where two suns now shone faintly behind the clouds. "Maybe," he said quietly, "but I'll remember him." The wind carried Elo's voice like a whisper. "Goodbye, sir." Ryan stood, the last human alive on a new world. A world not conquered, but forgiven. He looked out over the endless red fields and smiled sadly. Mars was breathing again.